Hi folks, this is Vicki from patternprincess.com. Today I'm going to show you how to work the pattern for this really cute coaster. It has a puff stitch in each row. Actually, the one row is a puff stitch and the next row is going to be a single crochet, and then I added fringe on it, and I've just used some leftover cotton yarn. It's a Lion brand Comfy Cotton, I think it's called. I actually made I made a shawl out of this yarn, and I also ended up making a beautiful 12-point star stitch blanket out of this yarn. So, and this yarn in the last star stitch blanket was paired with a purple yarn, and I ended up making a ripple coaster out of the leftover yarn with that. And so that pattern's on the website along with this one, but I just wanted to show you how to work the pattern to make sure that you're able to make the pattern as well. Just in case something in my directions is not clear, I want to make sure that it is. But this is about a, I don't know, it's about a 5" by 5 coaster, and then the fringe I cut to 2 inches. It's about a 2-inch fringe, and I have 3 pieces together in each fringe piece. And what I do is I have 1 on each end, and then you skip a stitch, and then you put the next set of 3 pieces of fringe together, skip a stitch in the next. So that the fringes on both ends, as you can see. So I'm going to show you how to work this. The very first thing I did is it's a beautiful way to use up some yarn scraps too. So the very first thing I did on this one here, I wanted to make sure, because it's going to be putting on the fringe. Sometimes when you do just a chain stitch and then you start off your pattern, the bottom of the chain stitch can be really leave gaps and kind of pull, and I didn't want that. So I purposely, this was the side I started on, and this is the side I ended on, and it looks really nice on both sides. So I didn't want the yarn to be pulling. What I did is I did the chainless foundation single crochet. I'm going to put my slip knot on here, but I did 18 of them, and if you're not familiar with it, I'm just going to do it quickly here. I do have another video that I will I'll put the link in the comment section, or I should say the description section. I'll put the link for you because I go slower there and a little bit more detail on how to do this, but this is just a quick little overview. So I have my slip knot on my hook. I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to do 2 chains. So here's a chain stitch, yarn over, and another chain stitch. Then you're going to put your hook back through underneath both loops here, but back through that first chain, yarn over, draw the yarn through, and bring the loop up, the bottom loop up to about the same tension as the top loop. Yarn over and draw through the bottom loop. Now you have 2 loops on the hook, so what you've really essentially just done is done your chain stitch that you would normally have, your starting chain, and then you put your single crochet on top of that. Well, now we just did a single crochet. So once I get to this point, I actually like to turn it, because now I'm going to be inserting the hook through those bottom 2 loops again. Yarn over, draw the yarn through, yarn over, go through the first loop, yarn over, go through the second 2 loops. And then I put my hook through the bottom 2 loops, yarn over, bring it through, yarn over, go through 1 loop, yarn over, go through 2 loops. And I'm going to stop a second so you can kind of see this now that I scrunched it. So some people like to call this first stitch here is a single crochet. I don't think that this stitch here, it would be very hard to get your hook in there. I think that the first 2 loops right here, I count as my single crochet, my first single crochet. So it's 1, 2, I've already made 3. And again, when I put it this way, you can see this bottom row here is your chains, would be your normal chain stitches that you would make. And then these are the single crochets on top of it. But what's nice is it's not going to pull apart. It's stretchy this way, but not this way. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do, I got to look, how many did I do on this? 18. I'm going to do 18 of these, okay? And then we're going to start the rest of the pattern. Okay, I have my 18 chainless foundation single crochets all done. Don't worry about this part here being a little bit bigger. You can either tighten up your slip knot, or when you go to put on your fringe, that's all going to get covered up anyway. Also, the other piece you could do is, let's say you're not going to add fringe and it's going to be your border. When you go to sew this in and weave this in, when you weave this back, that all can pull tight and you'll never even see that. That's the only part that I really don't like about this, but sometimes you have that with your other stitches too. So here is your chainless foundation single crochet. There's 18 of them. So the next stitch we're going to do is we're going to do a puff stitch. So let me show you how we're going to do this. So when I start the next row here, so the first thing we're going to start with is a chain 1. That does not count as anything. Don't count that as a stitch. That just helps make give you nice even rows on the end. So right here, we're going to work on that first stitch. We're going to insert our hook, and we're going to bring up a loop, yarn over, insert our hook back on the same loop, yarn over, draw through our loop. We now have 4 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over and draw through all 4. Okay, you see how we did that? We're going to do it again in the next stitch. We're going to insert our hook, can't talk today, yarn over, pull through. We're going to yarn over, insert our hook, yarn over, pull through. We have 4 loops on our hook, yarn over, and go through all 4 loops. And sometimes you just got to make sure you catch all your pieces of yarn, which I just had to, because this is cotton yarn. They're not all tightly spun together. Sometimes you can miss one. So I'm going to go to the next stitch. So this is a single crochet puff stitch. So we're going to insert our hook and yarn over, bring it through, yarn over, insert our hook, yarn over, bring it through, and we have 4 loops in our hook. So we're going to go through all the loops. We're going to continue doing this all the way across and to each stitch. I'm going to go a little bit faster now. Okay. So insert our hook, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, bring it through. It actually can work up pretty fast, but this is how you do that single crochet, whoopsies, puff stitch. This coaster worked up really fast, and I just love the texture and look to it. And I'm going to continue, and I'm going to meet you on the other end. And the next row you should be able to do is going to be a single crochet. So we're going to alternate, well, maybe I'll just get it done here. We're going to alternate between the single crochet and this puff stitch row to give you the lovely texture in the rows, the way that we have it there in the coasters. I hope you can see as I'm working this. And oh, there we go. And there's a couple more left. Here we go. One more. And our last one in this row. Okay, so here's our puff stitch. Now you're wondering, where is the puff stitch? Yep, not on this side. There's the magic. Can you see the puff? Can you see the puff stitch? And because what I love is how the yarn is going the same direction in every single one. It just, I love the look of this. Very, very cute. And so the puff stitch is not on one side, but it's on the other side. Okay, it's just like magic. So now our next row that we're going to do is chain 1. So at the beginning of every row we're going to, or it's either at the end of a row or beginning of a row. However, some folks like to turn it and chain. As long as you chain 1, you're good. Because otherwise it kind of pulls when you put your hook into that first stitch too. So now that we've done that, we're going to single crochet in the top of each stitch all the way across. Oops. My yarn caught on that tail. So this is simple enough, right? We can single crochet in each one across. It doesn't take that long to do. And it may look a little bit curly now, but you get a row or so in and it looks just fine. It's going to straighten right out. Don't be worried about that. And then you add the fringe on the end, and you have your, it's kind of a boho, I guess. That's a boho look. Mug rug. And this is a little bit bigger. It's like a 5-inch mug rug, but you know, some people have lots of big cups of coffee, And this would be perfect for that. It could also be used as a trivet. So now you can see that you have the puff stitch. This really accentuates it, having the single crochet on each side. And that's the back of it. That's a puff stitch. So we're going to turn it, and the next row now is a puff stitch row, right? So we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to insert our hook, yarn over, bring it through, yarn over, insert our hook, bring it through, and bring it through all 4. So we're just going to continue on repeating. There we go. Did I get all my little yarn pieces? There we go. Oh, I'm going to take that out because I didn't quite get the yarn the way that I wanted it here. I pulled out too much. But you're just going to keep alternating in between the single crochet row and the puff stitch row. So my chain 1, insert my hook. There we go. Insert my hook, yarn over. I'm making my puff stitches. And it can go quite fast. This is something that once you kind of get your foundation row done, you don't have to be counting. But as you can see, it's starting to take shape. So as we look at this, see how nice and pretty this is? There we go. This is the row that I'm on. But eventually, it's just, I don't know, I really like the look of these. And I'll show you, this is the back side. So maybe you don't want the puffy side up. This is the back side, but this is the puffy side. And I'm going to show it maybe this way. See the little puffs? It isn't really a lot defined, but it's just real pretty. So this is how you do this coaster and this stitch. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Tap the bell if you'd like to be notified when I put on new videos and tutorials. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.